What are the most common marketing mistakes that you see the aggressive, growth-minded attorneys make?
So overspending, and really not taking a look at your own data. Your own data is gold. It's like kind of going to the doctor, right? Like you can go to the gym and work out, but if you go to the doctor and they tell you what's happening with your actual body, like now you know what to eat, to have the fuel to do the workouts. It's very similar with your marketing. Like you have a lot of data already. Your happiest clients have data that they can share with you in a survey about how they perceive you, what they like about you, what they don't like about you. That's data.
If you're an aggressive, growth-minded attorney looking to transform your law firm into a thriving business, you're in the right place. Welcome to the AGM Attorney Podcast, the #1 podcast dedicated exclusively to aggressive, growth-minded attorneys. Each episode will deliver actionable strategies and insights to help you attract ideal clients, scale your law firm, and dominate your market. And now, here's your host, Josh Konigsberg.
Welcome to the AGM Attorney Podcast, where aggressive, growth-minded attorneys discover proven strategies to transform their law firms into thriving businesses. A special thank you to our sponsor, Law Firm Marketing Pros. They get you more leads, more clients, and more profits. I'm your host, Josh Konigsberg. Let's get aggressive.
Welcome back to another exciting episode of the AGM Attorney Podcast. I am super excited today about my guest, Margarita Eberline. She is the CEO of Marketing Boss, a law firm marketing agency and consulting company that is bilingual and helps legal professionals grow with clarity, strategy, and purpose. With over 2 decades of marketing experience at major corporations like Telemundo and Columbia Pictures and Nielsen, Margarita now focuses on empowering law firm owners through fractional CMO services, law firm sales training, and strategic brand development. She's also a sought-after speaker, author, and mother of 5. So I'm sure you're pretty busy, Margarita. Welcome to the podcast.
It's great to be here.
Can't tell you how much I appreciate you finding the time to squeeze this in for all of our listeners. So you've built a marketing career across major media companies, and now you're helping law firms scale. What inspires you to start your own agency and to pivot into legal?
So many things, and I'll try to keep it short because we don't have 5 years for me to tell a story. But I started thinking that I was going to be a journalist, and I got this amazing internship opportunity at NBC in Los Angeles. It's a local, not the network, but like local station, Southern California, and had a blast, but figured that I love data. I got a little bit of a taste of how they use ratings data and went into a opportunity with Christy Habiger, the founder of Latina Magazine, after I got done with that internship. And that's where the magic, the fireworks with the data happened, because I learned how much better it felt to make decisions surrounding or around data. Like so many times we think, oh, should I go with purple or should I go with white? And we think it's an opinion thing or a preference thing or that we have to guess, but there's data on everything, even colors. So I really tapped into that. And I got very excited about data, and that's how I ended up at Nielsen. Once I had that opportunity with Nielsen, I applied data to decision making every single day, helping TV stations, advertising agencies make decisions using data, pulling data, looking at data differently. And once I decided to become a mom, as you mentioned, 5 kids is a lot. I had to rethink my career, because traveling around the country as a Nielsen rep, which is what my primary role is there at Nielsen, just didn't make sense anymore with my life choices. So wound up at Telemundo, right where the Obama administration started to make a lot of changes in immigration reform. And so my GM at the time said, Margarita, right now is a great time to work with or pursue immigration attorneys, because they should be advertising their services. And that was how I connected with the first set of attorneys that I had ever worked with in a marketing capacity. And it felt like coming home. I feel like the personality of the attorneys not just them, like it's a pattern. There's type it's the sarcasm and all that. I was like, oh, I like this. Like these are my people. And so I brought everything that I had experienced from NBC, from Columbia Pictures, from Nielsen into attorney businesses very casually in conversation because I just couldn't help myself. I'm a nerd, right? So we would have conversations about, TV, but also about, hey, did you know that according to research, this is how people behave and this is how they react when they see your spot, and they go online and they look you up and they call you, and from Facebook back then, it was a while ago. And so now as a CMO, very similar to how agencies, do help. The difference though is I don't stress about the implementation as much as about the strategy and the data, because that is a full-time job. Many law firm owners that don't have a CMO don't realize what a load their agencies are doing that really isn't their job, and I know you can relate, Josh, and can probably speak to this, where is it really your job as an agency to like dig in and find out what happened with sales and intake once the leads came in? Is it really your job to like understand how their billboards are interacting with the digital marketing that you're doing? Like it really isn't. And so that's why you need a CMO. And so I identified that gap when I was running an actual agency, and I thought, you know what? That's where I want to live. Like as a data analyst, as a strategic thinker, that's my wheelhouse, that's my space. And so that's what we do at Marketing Bosses. We help with all of that leadership, with the data analysis, also diagnosing, collaborating with agencies.
So we've actually been forced into a situation where we've been able to get and figure out how to be more granular to get that data to someone like yourself, so that we can take a market qualified lead and a sales qualified lead and say, okay, so the leads are coming in, but why aren't they converting? Right?
Yeah, and your agency, honestly, not just because this is your podcast, but it's true. Like your agency really does go above and beyond when it comes to attribution too. Many agencies, like that's really not their job, so I don't blame them. But like they don't get into that. Like they run the ad and you figure out if it worked or not. Like your agency goes above and beyond to track. So
So your services include obviously fractional CMO services, also law firm sales training and strategic brand development. Can you describe how you determine what a law firm needs when you go in?
we have a methodology called the BOSSY method, called that on purpose because marketing boss, where we do a business audit. B stands for business audit, and then we do an optimization strategy. So an optimized strategy based on what we see with the business audit, and then we create standardized processes, and then we do a strategic yield analysis, meaning did you make money, like to put it simply, right? So we do that entire process. Within that process, we're looking at different data points, like that case study that I mentioned, right? Or Acme Law Firm run by John Doe, like, and we look at what's working, how it's working. Many times with law firms, they come to us because they're like, we need you to do this business audit, this, bossy method thing, and tell us, because we have a feeling that our marketing's not working. Many times what I find, and this is why we developed the Connect Convert Law Firm Sales Program is what we call it. Many times I find that there are gaps between wanted cases and signed cases. I don't like to see those gaps, because if you've got wanted cases and you're not signing them, that's not a marketing problem, it's a sales problem. So we can diagnose that right away just with that metric. So what we will do is we will then come in to help solve that problem. There's a lot of psychology that was put into, I'm not a psychologist, but there was a lot of psychology that was put into our sales program based on data about psychology, behavioral patterns. And so we now empower law firm intake teams with this Connect Convert methodology that teaches them how to pick up on signs that somebody's going to ghost you. So the easiest one that I can share as an example is we teach that if the person, the PNC that you're talking to, is not relieved and excited, there's still a chance that they might ghost you. So your job, your goal to get that PNC across the finish line into a signed agreement, assuming they're qualified, of course, right? Because we don't want to manipulate somebody to sign up if they don't have a good case, is to build that trust, to build that connection, connect, convert, not convince, convert. So that there is a feeling of, oh, I'm so glad I called you guys, and didn't go with that last law firm that I talked to, or the, oh my gosh, oh, I'm so glad you guys are going to be able to help me with my problem, right? Excitement or relief.
So you've conspicuously omitted digital marketing from your services. Can you please tell our listeners why?
So we focus on how does your marketing work as a whole, and this is where the branding comes in. Digital marketing is a tactic. It's a area of marketing. There's also outdoor, there's also client experience, there's also the way you decorate your office. That's branding. So when you have marketing, you need to have help from someone that's not just going to look at specific tactics by themselves, because that's why you have vendors. We leverage the vendors that our clients use for the expertise in that tactic, right? Like, we can look at your KPIs and tell if there's something to be improved in your digital marketing or in your branding on your billboards or your TV spots, but you need to leave it up to professionals to really execute the actual improvement. Because, and I say this very respectfully, like, marketing is not that easy. I can, as a CMO, tell you that I'm a marketing expert when it comes to data analytics, but I can't honestly tell you that I know exactly what lever to pull on every single campaign on the back end, because that's why you have your agencies, your teams that are specialists in those tactics. And marketing in the digital space right now, we know just anecdotally that it's the the shortest distance between your law firm and a PNC is in the digital space. It's just simple. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but we definitely do collaborate with digital agencies, digital experts, digital vendors, because there's a lot there that can be done.
Yeah, and that's why we test, right? So many of our listeners feel like marketing is something that they really probably should be better at, right? So when you first start working with a law firm, how do you help them get clarity?
So we do an audit, and the audit is mostly a data audit. We can diagnose a lot just by looking at data. And then we do a visual audit, so an audit of the brand. What's your messaging now? Is it sticky enough? And we give some direction on how can we make it stickier. And it's really that simple. From there, we have action items that we then give the law firm owners. And then we have a discussion about, okay, out of all these action items, out of all these tactics that maybe you didn't think that you needed, that we now have come up with as strategic recommendations, which would you like to implement? And usually the conversation is, well, I want to implement this because I already have a vendor that can do it. Okay, let's start with that one. Like real life case study from this morning, a business litigation firm is doing a lot of brand ads, digital branding, but they don't have any search or LSA. And we're like, that's just the easiest thing you can do. Like, you're going out, what metaphor did I use? I said, it's like going to a singles bar, but you never ask anybody for their number. What are you doing there? Like, everybody sees you, you're wearing the right outfit, but like, ask somebody out. So anyway, and they're like, okay, so that was an easy one. So that's an example.
A busy law firm, and even if you're not that busy, you're trying to get busy. So they're often pulled in a million directions, right? And so what are the most common marketing mistakes that you see the aggressive growth-minded attorneys make?
They spend way too much money on vanity marketing strategies. They see their biggest competitor, that, by the way, maybe has 10 million more in marketing ad spend, is doing XYZ. So they're like, oh, I should do that. And then like a billboard is an example, right? You see that somebody has 30 billboards all over the city, and you're like, oh, I should do billboards because that's what the big guy is doing. So I'm aggressive. I want to grow. I want to go big or go home. So let me do 3 billboards. And it's like, well, why? so, so overspending, and really not taking a look at your own data. Your own data is gold. It's like kind of going to the doctor, right? Like you can go to the gym and work out, but if you go to the doctor and they tell you what's happening with your actual body, like now you know what to eat, to have the fuel to do the workouts. It's very similar with your marketing. Like you have a lot of data already. Your happiest clients have data that they can share with you in a survey about how they perceive you, what they like about you, what they don't like about you. That's data. Very like that's simple data that you can get in conversation. I know we hear the word data and we think like matrix and, charts. Like data is have a conversation, ask questions, gather the information and apply it. And then you also, of course, have actual data, right? And then many law firms also that are aggressive, they'll launch a bunch of campaigns, but then they don't track properly.
So you're offering a CMO level strategy without the full-time hire and obviously not the full-time price, right? So for attorneys unfamiliar with that model, what's the difference between a CMO full-time W-2 and a vendor such as yourself?
There are so many CMO offers, companies out there. I can speak to how ours is set up. We're set up to provide you with a robust team approach. I, as an individual, know enough about graphic design, know enough about data, know enough about content, know enough about how to manage people, how to properly execute projects. I took all of those skills and I created processes and I built a team. And so, what's nice about the way Marketing Boss is, everybody wants to work with me and I want to work with everybody, but I'm only one person. And so, I have this amazing team where you actually have a professional graphic designer. Instead of me telling you, hey, this needs more white space, you now have a graphic designer that plugs into your company and has the meetings with your team about white space, trains them. You have a project manager assigned to your account that can help manage all the projects. Again, agencies have their own projects, so we don't replace that. But you need somebody that's neutral, keeping track of, oh, you know what, your website with this vendor is almost going to be done. That'd be a good time to launch your campaign with the radio, folks, instead of 2 weeks before. So the project manager is looking at all the moving parts, all your deadlines, and then setting expectations when things can go a little bit faster. She'll know. So we have like those are examples of how the team approach really works to your advantage. Whereas I've heard and the research that I've done, like other CMO businesses are different, where you pay $5,000 for a really smart person to spend an hour with you, give you their opinion, and leave. Like that's the most common model that I've seen for fractional CMO. And then the alternative is your full-time CMO is going to run you 250, 350 if they know what they're doing, because we're like a Swiss Army knife is what we've been called, right? Like jack of all trades. That's a very rare unicorn type skill set. It's expensive. And so, with our business model, we're able to provide that at a fraction of the cost. I mean, if I can share, if you think it's fine, like our highest package, our highest offer, again, to plug in an entire CMO team, if you're billing over 3-5 million in advertising, you have a full data analyst too that's assigned, like all of that for about $6,000. Like to get all that, like that's pretty. And you get our sales program, like you get all of that included. So you also get mindset coaches for your team, training them on how to pick up on psychological cues of ghosting, and how to manage emotions, and how to connect, and how to express empathy, and how to tell when it's the right time to do the ask. Like all of that is included, which I mean, it's a pretty, I've been told so many times, please raise your prices. And then if you're a smaller, like for about $3,000 a month, you can have all that I described. So yeah, not a bad deal.
So what patterns have you seen that actually drive the long-term growth?
I wish there was a one easy answer. I'm going to be a lawyer right now and say it depends on the law firm, the competition. Yeah, I think, but in general, like I mentioned before, Digital is usually the shortest distance between a law firm and a sales lead, a PNC. But again, it depends. Like I've got a client that like a big anchor strategy was outdoor. It was a very unique situation where we took advantage of a very unique gap in the market, a creative gap in the market, and we went with that play. It's kind of like sports, right? You pick your play and you just go for it.
So when you're working so closely with the law firm owners and not just on the marketing, but on their mindset, what's the one belief you think they need to let go of if they want to become a better business owner or business leader? Not a better lawyer, but a better business person.
I'm gonna reiterate the one that I just addressed, which is, you know, don't try to be like everybody else. So I feel like it's worth repeating. The other one is, do you really believe that you deserve success? Because, and again, I'm not a psychologist, but my unfair advantage is I'm naturally empathetic. Like it's spooky. Like if I'm in the same room with someone, even if they're smiling, I can tell if they're sad. Like I'm really like I absorb feelings like a sponge. So I'm coming at it from that place. Many law firm owners will tell you until they're blue in the face, yes, I believe I deserve it. I believe I'm the best. But there are these like underlying traumas, or I don't know what it is, where like you look at the pattern close enough, or like, no, you don't. Because why do you keep hiring people that rip you off and that are not honest with you? There's a belief in your subconscious that's affecting you if that's what the pattern is showing you. And that's the number one that I see. Mindset, I'm gonna call it opportunity. That if you overcome that, there's no stopping you. But you've got to do the work. It can't be the superficial, like I read this book and yes, I believe I deserve it. Or I've gone to therapy a few times even, and yeah, I believe I deserve it. Like, do the work. And the work is catch yourself, because it's a process. And I say it very humbly, if I could be, vulnerable. Like, I mean, I didn't grow up in a wealthy family or anything like that. So I've learned some of this through personal experience, and bringing it back to legal. I had a conversation a little while ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, with a law firm owner, very capable law firm owner, very established. And he was about to fall hook, line, and sinker for this offer that he got from a marketing vendor, because I'm not a marketing vendor. So I encourage my clients to work with marketing vendors. And he's like, oh my gosh, like the offer they got was, hey, you feel X, Y, and Z. And like, this is a total marketing strategy, right? You feel X, Y, and Z. You're frustrated by X, Y, and Z. We can help you. Just sign here. And I was like, boss, I'm like, I know this is so tempting, but like, let's revisit some of your patterns. And he's like, oh, and I said, if you really want to try this, how can I help? And he's like, you know what? You helped. I'm not going to do this. That was a mindset thing that I was pointing out. That wasn't even really a CMO like thing. It was kind of like, I know this man's heart and I know this pattern and I've seen it before in the way he makes these decisions. And I'm like, come on, the narcissist flag is like right there. Like this, like they repeat back to you how awful things are, and then they are like, but I'm the answer. Come on, like that's not how it works.
You're sharing a story, but how about one where the client had an amazing breakthrough of clarity and conversions that ultimately led to greater revenue after working with your team?
I have a client that I've been working with for years and had a lot of trouble letting go of media assets. Times are changing. This is an established brand that's been advertising for a really long time, very big budget. The cost per case kept going up, kept going up, kept going up. And I could tell with the data, we're overspending on branding. And I came up with some recommendations of where to reallocate. And it was hard. Like, this one is a trifecta because it was marketing, but it was also mindset, but it was also like, oh, nobody has these assets, like kind of. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, but we want to make money, right? Like we want to grow. And so the shift was, using data, we were able to forecast improvements in the cost per case with some reallocations of budget. We're also able to address some sales and intake opportunities as well. And with those two things, we were able to see the cost per case drop. I want to save 10%, 20%, and still counting. So, and this is in maybe 6 months. So it was a process because again, it's, some of it is, hey, the data's telling us to do this, but it can be kind of scary. Sometimes it feels like the data is telling you to go down a dark alley because it's unfamiliar. So, and I was very, understanding of that. And I'm very gentle with, with, with the way that I deliver information. So that it can be processed.
So you also train attorneys and their team on intake and sales. So where do you see owners losing the most SQLs, and what's the one quick fix that can start helping to turn that around?
Record your calls. It just blows my mind how many law firms don't record the calls. And every once in a while listen to them so you can stick your finger in the soup and taste like how's it, like you don't have to be a data analyst to listen to a call. I can give you a case study even with a dentist, right? Cuz it happens with every business where like this dentist office owner had never listened and was like, I need to do more marketing and I need to spend. He's like getting loans and like, why don't we listen to some calls? So if you're not listening to your calls, start listening to your calls, and then if you really want to get fancy, like be strategic about how you score your calls, which is what we do with Connect Convert. We give you data on what's happening with your customer service based on actual KPIs. And now you're in a position to not have arguments because if you listen to a call and you go to your intake people and you say, hey, XYZ, that's just your opinion, right? I can defend it till I'm blue in the face. But if you go and you say, hey, this KPI score is this KPI, that's data. You're going to have a much more productive conversation, empowering conversation, because it's not about, oh my gosh, how could you? A lot of the times your reps, it's not that they're doing it on purpose. They're just not aware because they're not hearing their own calls.
So let's pivot to like industry trends. What's next? So from your experience, what's the best way for law firm owners to pick a digital marketing agency versus should they hire an in-house team?
So I'm going to connect this to the thing that I said about mindset. Love yourself enough to work with an agency that is transparent. If an agency says, I can run your ads, but it's going to be on my account and I'm not going to show you what I'm doing, you're just going to have to trust me. I'm sorry, but no, no, no. Because when an agency really knows what they're doing, they're going to say, yeah, here, you can own it too. Like that to me is not like when I work with a law firm and they don't have someone, that's what I look for. When I work with a law firm and they have what they have, I'll work with it, like I try not to make too many changes when I first, start working with someone because it's not good for the business to just gut everything either. But number one is transparency. Number two is what are they like during the sales process? So many agencies come in with their plug and play, like, yeah, here's service A, service B, service C. Which one do you want? Like, I'm not against those types of sales processes. Sometimes decent agencies, that's just how they sell. But ideally, you want to work with an agency that is going to customize. And yeah, maybe it's package A, B, or C, but they're going to come in with a plan already. What are the biggest opportunities, the lowest hanging fruit, the quickest wins for you? They're going to at least take a look at what you have going on a little bit. Maybe not a full audit, right? I know you guys do a full audit, which is very rare, but like, even if they don't do like a full thing, like show me that you know my business enough, like my actual brand enough, and that you've taken the time to really think through what I need for my law firm. Look for that.
So what should attorneys be focused on next like forward thinking with some of the trends? What should they be focused on next when it comes to marketing, and what should they tune out?
So there's a lot. Just to focus on one, because I feel like this is the dangerous one, is AI. AI in your marketing. I'm not against it, but what I'm seeing is the law firms that overly rely on AI, meaning the AI spits it out and you just copy paste it, are missing out on their unfair advantage, because AI doesn't know what you have in here, what your personality is, what you're really about. And yeah, you can train it, and yes, it can save you time. I use AI all the time. But I'm not a big fan of just copy paste and, no, if AI is your assistant, AI is your minimum wage assistant that saves you time, but you're responsible for really, or your marketing team, I should say, is responsible for putting some thought, some intentionality into your content, and really what you're putting out there. I've even seen where um people already are starting to get turned off by marketing that feels too much like AI. Again, I am a fan of AI. Let's just use it responsibly. Would be my advice.
Last question is some advice for the aggressive growth-minded attorneys out there. What final nuggets of wisdom would you share with those attorneys who want to aggressively grow their firms with intention and impact?
Give every single vendor that you work with KPIs.
Well, that's fantastic advice. I appreciate that, as I'm sure our listeners do. But now it is time for us to move on to my favorite part of the podcast. This is where people get to know, like you, and trust you better. It's the lightning round. So we all like to do business with people we know, like, and trust. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask you a question, and whatever pops in your mind is the answer. There's no right or wrong answers. Okay. Are you ready?
Oh, no pressure. Okay. Let's go.
Margarita, what never fails to make you laugh?
My kids, they're funny.
Okay. Great answer. So until they get older, then not so much. What is the best compliment you ever got?
That I'm kind.
Okay, that's a great compliment. Wonderful. So is there a person that you'd trade places with for a day? Anyone throughout history?
No, I picked this life. I would not trade places with anybody.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Chocolate.
What is the best gift that you have ever given someone?
Forgiveness. I've done a lot of that.
Wow. So good. All right. What's the worst piece of advice you ever got?
It was an insight, but it was a piece of advice. Change your business because it's not scalable.
What is the one thing that you wish you were better at dealing with?
Doom scrolling?
Does that happen at a particular time of the day?
Yeah, usually at night. I'm just going to do this for 10 minutes and I'll set an alarm and,
What was your favorite childhood movie?
I guess The Little Mermaid, like when I was really little. Yeah.
Wow, I feel so old.
Oh, that's funny.
What is the one book that changed your life?
I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I love that book.
And tell us something that most people don't know about you.
I'm a Scorpio. I don't know.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, now it all makes so much sense, right?
Yeah, I'm a friendly one. Let's see. Oh, bad reputations.
Well, that's a wrap for today. So, Margarita, can you kindly share with our listeners what's the best way for them to contact you to learn more about Marketing Boss?
So you can Google me, Margarita Eberline. I'm all over social media, any social media. And Marketing-Boss is my website. And I also have my name domain right now, margaritaeberline.com.
And your social media is absolutely amazing. So congratulations for that. Once again, listeners, thank you so much for today. This is Josh Konigsberg signing off from the AGM Attorney Podcast. Bye for now. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the AGM Attorney Podcast. Now it's time to put these strategies into action and accelerate your growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time.